So do you think that people are born knowing what their passion and purpose is? Where do you think it develops? Do you think it changes? Do you think that they get stuck doing something just because they're doing it and they don't ever really even think that there's an option to just be really fundamentally at peace with what you get up and do every day?
All of the above. I think it depends on the way that you're brought up. So there's a lot of cultures where you're either a lawyer or a doctor, and you cannot ever stray from that. So from a cultural point of view, I also think that financially people are driven by often what pays the most, how much money can I earn. And I think the statistics are there's like 33% of the population that are actually doing what they truly love, and then the other 67% aren't. I think, oh my gosh, can we flip that?
Yeah.
But it's also, I think, about having that courage as well. So there's a lot of courage involved. But then I also think that there's people that are just, when they're young, they know I'm going to be a police officer or I'm going to be this. They've got maybe an environment that's really supportive, or they don't, but then they make it happen. So I think that there's lots of different things. The one thing that I often talk to my clients about, the ones that know that there's something else, they don't want to work particularly in the corporate world anymore, but they don't know what. It's about then how do you start it as a side hustle? So don't be, I mean, if you're financially, got a few mil in the bank and you can step out of your corporate job and do what you want to do, but you don't have to dramatically change everything in your life. You could just start it as something on the side. Do it on a weekend, do it in the evenings, and then start to build on that. Sometimes we have these things in our head where I really want to do it, and then you start doing it and you think, oh, I don't know whether this was actually what I wanted to do.
How do you think people know if they are living their true passion and their purpose?
Because they've got joy throughout the day, and every day what they're doing they love.
And they wake up excited to go to work.
And that then ties into the whole piece of when you're living this way and working this way, then look, when you're starting out, I mean, I was doing all my own social media, all my own books and all of those sort of things. But I got to a point where I was like, I have to actually invest and outsource this because this is not my zone of genius. So I now have outsourced providers and people who do things for me. That is their zone of genius. And what happens is then that actually gives me space and the time and the headspace to actually be doing what I'm filled with joy about. But that didn't happen overnight. I had to learn how to do all my own social media, my own books and, all of that sort of stuff. But you get to a point where it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so only up until this financial year, I was doing my own spreadsheet for all my finances. And this financial year, I said to my husband, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's get online. And then he said, can I be your bookkeeper? And I'm like, sure, because I don't want to do it. As you know, he's an IT cyber guy, but he loves that sort of stuff. And I said to him, and he's like asking me all these questions. And I'm like, I love you so much. I really couldn't care less what you do. If you want to set it up that way, set it up that way. Go for gold. Because I just don't care. In a sense, I don't care. And I've got someone who I really trust, so I'm lucky that I can do that. But I don't want to spend my time doing that. I don't want to spend my time doing social media because I can do it, but it doesn't bring me joy. I get in my head. So,
and that's interesting. It's interesting that you say it that way, because a lot of business coaches and leaders will kind of give a very practical way of growing a business, which is basically if you earn a certain amount of money per hour, anything that can be done for less than that should be done by somebody else. So you're not going to clean the office because you can pay somebody much less than what you can charge to a customer for your expertise to clean the office, depending on what your job is. So that's a very practical way of deciding at what point should you outsource. Whereas your position is more about what brings you joy and what doesn't bring you joy. And but if it's not bringing you joy, then, and it's clearly taking you time, then you probably don't or shouldn't be doing that job.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is that it's interesting. So Anne is my online business manager. She has had some experiences where people have said to her, you've been working for me for a year and you've bought me no business. And I've said to her, but that's not your job. Your job is to take, and this is what she's worked for me now for 2 years. She takes all of that out of my hands where she can, so that then I can step into what I'm really good at. But it's up to me to build the business. It's up to me to bring clients in. That's not her role. And so I think it's really interesting when we outsource, you know, a bit like my husband doing the books, or if I was paying a bookkeeper, their role isn't then to bring me in business. Their role is to look after my books. So again, I can then have free time to go and find clients, network, do that. And I think it's really important that people, I think that's a really important distinction to have. That person that you're outsourcing to, if it was a marketer or a salesperson or a business development manager, then that is their job. But if it's not, then it's you. I think people get really confused about that.
Yeah.